I don't say that for sympathy, we all have to put up with things like this, and I am currently enjoying my life a lot. I say it because I see at firsthand what a great job our doctors and nurses do. But if nurses are voting to go on strike over pay, I would suggest they are probably in the wrong job. There's a good reason why nurses have not gone on strike in the 106-year history of the Royal College of Nursing. It's because they are such a caring profession. I would not expect for a moment that the nurses treating me would just walk out of the door, even if they do vote for strike action. The RCN, like other unions, is just using the excuse of inflation to make totally unrealistic pay claims that the government can't possibly meet, 5% above inflation, which is currently at about 10%, so that's 15%, and coordinating action to cause as much chaos as possible. And before anyone asks, no, I couldn't do the amazing job that nurses do. More of a problem is the state of the NHS. The basic idea is still a brilliant one, treating everyone who needs it, irrespective of ability to pay, but it isn't working because those in charge are frightened to criticize the things that are wrong. If we continue along this path, then doctors and nurses will become so frustrated they will continue to leave, pay rise or no pay rise. We do need to support the doctors and nurses, but not the senior executives with their huge salaries and endless bureaucratic tinkering with an already tottering system. Bland the new mainstream, flicking through the TV channels looking for some inspiration for my talk radio show, and for this column I see that Phil and Holly are still presenting this morning and still both looking as insincere as ever. What is it that they have that everyone thinks is so amazing? Well, everyone but the thousands who signed a petition to get rid of them for Q-jumping the Queen's lying in state. I'm guessing that the petition can't have succeeded. Having forced myself to watch a bit of the program, their appeal definitely wasn't obvious. Perhaps the advertisers are convinced that with those two presenting the program their products will fly off the shelves? I wouldn't have thought so unless Bland sells. But then maybe it does, because Bland seems to be what the mainstream broadcasters are trying to achieve these days, and, may I say, they are doing it rather well. Anyway, I quickly returned to talk to encounter some real people. While I put my feet up and read the Express. Rack, mine, drill and build more nuclear. Just to make myself crystal clear, not everybody in this country agrees with the net zero campaign. I know that there are scientists, politicians and business leaders who think that this is the most thought-through policy ever, but in the current energy crisis it's becoming increasingly problematic. When are we going to wake up and ignore the idiots who glue themselves to the pavement and concentrate on securing our own energy? I'm joining the gang today that says frack, mine, drill and build more nuclear, and while we're at it, let's stick a load of desalination plants around the coast to beat water shortages so we can be totally self-sufficient and don't have to rely on the whims of other nations. A public holiday for a monarch's coronation is a no-brainer. There's a lot of talk about whether King Charles' Coronation Day should be a public holiday. Apparently, some in government are worried an extra day off would damage the new Go for Growth strategy and could cost £831 million. In my view, it's a no-brainer. The crowning of a king for the first time in my lifetime, and in most of yours, is a huge occasion. We should be proud of our monarchy. The royals are not all perfect, how many of us are? But they are the figureheads of this country. Jacob Rees-Mogg is backing the public holiday plan, and as business secretary he should know its effect on productivity. And any naysayers can just work through the day anyway. A joy to feast on radio memories. I have a habit of writing things to wind people up, including myself, but I like to spread some happier items too, so I wanted to share details of a lovely Sunday lunch. As I've mentioned before, Jas Conrad, the most beautiful man in the world, according to him, has moved in around the corner from me, and he invited Lady W and me for lunch because another of our contemporaries was joining him. He wouldn't tell me in advance who his mystery guest was going to be, but it was in fact Diddy David Hamilton and his lovely wife. I hadn't seen David for such a long time, and it was delightful sitting down for a wonderful meal, in the late summer sunshine, talking about the old days, pirate radio and the way radio has changed for the better. There was a time when people considered that steam radio was old-fashioned and would soon be killed off by television, but at the moment it is thriving. I look forward to the next conversation and my mouth is watering already at the thought of the food. Thank goodness the party conferences are over. The party conferences are over, thank goodness. They didn't exactly fill you with hope for the future, did they? Labour proved, once again, that they will say anything to get elected, and we had the charade of Keir Starmer insisting that delegates sing the national anthem when both he and Angela Rayner supported the Republican Jeremy Corbyn. Do they think people are so easily fooled? Sadly, the Conservative Party conference wasn't much better. The party seems to be run by a bunch of rebellious backbenchers, and the Prime Minister and her cabinet didn't have the guts to stand up to them. Meanwhile, Liz Truss went very quiet on stopping illegal immigration, which is the one way she could recover all the support her party has lost. But never mind, she and French President Emmanuel Macron met at the new non-EU in Prague and agreed to tackle the Channel crossings. Haven't we heard that before? Im is adrift in her refugees plea. Do we really need champagne socialists like Emma Thompson telling us that we should take every Tom, Dick and Harriet who wants to come into this country? That's the same Emma Thompson, by the way, who once flew 5,400 miles from Los Angeles to London to attend an Extinction Rebellion protest over climate change. She and other Louvies including Meryl Streep and Sylvester Stallone appear in a Refugee Council TV advert calling out the government's plan to criminalize refugees who make their own way to the UK. They use the example of people fleeing the fighting in Ukraine, who are genuine refugees, to tell us we should welcome the people crossing the channel in rubber boats. As I have said many times, I have absolutely no problem with people coming to this country legally to be part of it, to work and pay taxes and to contribute to making Britain the best place to live. I have no trouble with genuine refugees or asylum seekers, but many of those arriving on our shores in small boats are neither. And just remember, you don't get French citizens fleeing here because of persecution there.